All right, everybody, welcome back to the Wealth Advisory's Top 10 for April 2022. Another month in the books, a crazy month in the books. Markets were sort of all over the place. They've been going mostly up the past couple of weeks, though. It seems like they're really resilient in the face of all the geopolitical stress that we've seen in Eastern Europe. But we're also hearing talk of progress in peace talks with Ukraine and Russia. So that could be driving the conversation a little bit too. I want to talk, before we get into the top 10 at all, I just want to talk about something that's just a little bit crazy to me. Last year, I think maybe January, February, something like that. But anyway, last year, interest rates got a little bit high. They sort of started to run up, and they got up to about like a 1.75% on the 10-year treasuries. And everybody was selling like all of the tech stocks that they could find, you know, and all of the big tech. And now here we are, and we are at what, like 2.4% with the 10-year treasury rate, and people are buying big tech. So I've got to wonder how long that lasts. You know, at 1.75%, people were like, "Oh, big tech can't grow anymore." But now at 2.4%, people are like, "Oh, big tech is the safest place we could put our money." So I'm just wondering when that tune is going to change. It's an interesting tune that the markets are singing, but really we're at a point where there's really no alternative. Excuse me. We're at a point where there's really no alternative. And you get that acronym TINA, TINA, there is no alternative. You know, bond prices have gone down, yields have risen, but yields are still less than inflation. Cash is just losing you money if you keep your cash in cash. So really, there's no alternative. You have to be in stocks, and I've got to think that that's part of what's driving, you know, the market to come back again too. You know, we've seen some pretty big moves down, but we're starting to see some moves back up. We're getting closer to the January 2022 highs. So we're really sort of at an inflection point. This is going to be an interesting month. And that being said, let's go ahead and get into the top 10 now. We had a mixed bag performance. We had a really good performance. I want to say we had a really good performance for the top 10 last month, but one stock got hit really hard because uranium comes from Russia, and that was Centrus Energy. Their revenue really comes from reselling other people's enriched uranium. A lot of the enriched uranium in the world comes from Russia, and so Centrus Energy took like a 20 or 25% hit. It came back a little bit, but still, as I'm filming this, it's down about 20% from when I recommended it, and that sort of is making the rest of the portfolio look kind of bad. It gives us a 3.02% average gain, while the S&P had about 5%, the NASDAQ about 4.6%, and the Dow Jones about 3.4%. But if you take that big loss out, we averaged 5.75%. So really, 9 of our stocks did great. 1 of them did horribly, and it brought the average down a bit. So obviously, we're not going to put that stock back in this month. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a lot of technical analysis this month. So pretty much every stock that I'm going to put into the top 10 for April 2022 has outperformed the markets over the past month, or it has momentum behind it thanks to its price in relation to its moving averages. A lot of them actually have both. And the reason I'm going technical this month is that things are just changing way too rapidly for fundamental analysis on short-term trades like this. You know, like just think of last month's video where I said that by the time you were watching it, the war in Ukraine could be over. And now, obviously, we see it's far from over, despite word of peace talks hitting the headlines over the past couple of weeks. But, you know, obviously, none of the balls that I own are crystal. So instead of trying to predict geopolitics this month, we're just betting that the trends hold, the winners keep winning, and the momentum carries our stocks higher this month. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into our list and let you know the top 10 picks for April 2022. We're going to start off in an odd place. We're going to start off with REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust. You know, we love them here at the Wealth Advisory. They're some of our best performing investments. They've been some of our best performing investments in the past as well, and they're going to continue to be some of our best performing investments. They're just great. They spin off cash, they grow, they're exactly what an investment should be. And our first one for this month is going to be SLATE Grocery REIT. On the performance side, SLATE delivered us a 16% gain this month. That's pretty good. I'll take that again if we can, and it looks like we might be able to. So SLATE is holding pretty well above its moving averages, showing that it's got some momentum behind it to push it forward this month. So we're going to make it our first pick. Next up, we've got Prologis. That's our warehouse REIT. It delivered a 10% gain last month, making me wish I had put it in the March top 10. But I can't go back and put it in the March top 10, so I'm going to put it in for April, and we're going to bet that that performance repeats because the shares have a lot of momentum behind them. Like SLATE Grocery, they're sitting very comfortably above the 100 and 200-day moving averages, so they could easily run up again in April. Next up, we're going to go with Unity Group. Now, Unity also went on a run last month. It gave us about an 8% return. It's getting up close to that offer price that's sort of keeping a lid on gains, but it looks like it could keep drifting higher this month. Momentum's definitely been building some, and the shares are holding well above their support levels. So we're going to give it a spot in the top 10 and see what happens. You know, it might get up to that $15 offer price and back off. It might actually run up above the offer price because, you know, the more time that passes, the more it looks like that offer is going to get boosted some. So Unity is going to be our number 3 pick. And that is going to move us out of the REITs and into some dividend growers. I like income right now. I think that one, you know, it's going to cushion your portfolio against any drops, but two, it's also going to give you dry powder. You know, it's going to give you money so that when other stocks are down, you can go out and you can add to your positions. You have extra cash around to buy when other stocks are down. So anyway, moving out of the REITs into the dividend growers, and we're going to go with Bunge as number 4 this month. So the shares had a great run last month and gave us almost a 10% win. So I'm betting that can continue because the stock's comfortably above its moving averages. It seems to have its momentum back, and it's sort of a commodities play, and commodities are in that, you know, early innings of a super cycle. So for number 4, we're going with Bunge Limited. Let's see. Next up, finishing up the top 5 here is... I write a monthly investment newsletter called The Wealth Advisory. Don't worry, this isn't an ad. It's to explain why you're not hearing me speak right now. It's because over 25,000 members pay the very reasonable annual subscription fee for The Wealth Advisory so they can get my latest insights and advice hot off the digital press. I believe I have an obligation to my loyal readers, so there will be a quiet period during which the latest investment recommendation will not be made public. Should you decide you want to join the Wealth Advisory ranks and get immediate access to these picks, you'll find a link in the video description to a secure order page where you can sign up to become a member. Of course, I invite you to tune into the Wealth Advisory Top 10 videos for as long as you like with no obligation whatsoever, except maybe to hit the like button once in a while. But anyway, I digress. I'm talking about our number 6 pick this month, Leidos Holdings. It's a huge government and military contractor. It really helps the government with a lot of like IT type support and things like that, providing workers to do information services jobs, and also like helping provide programs too. So we got a nice little run out of it last month. It was about 6%, and I think we can get more this month. It's another with momentum behind it, and the shares are well above the moving averages, so it's going to be our number 6 pick. Let's see. Next up, number 7, hands down, the best pick last month is obviously going to come back for April, and I'm talking about Maxar Technologies. Pretty much every single picture that everybody is seeing of the Russian-Ukraine conflict, of troop movements, of everything, has a Maxar tag on the bottom of it because it's coming from their satellites. And that's huge name recognition. You know, companies pay millions of dollars to get that kind of like brand publicity into movies and things like that. And Maxar is getting it because, well, they're the ones that are providing all of these overhead pictures of what's going on in Eastern Europe. It's driving shares up, and I think it can keep doing just that this month. So we're going to go with Maxar for number 7. We're almost done. Just a few more left. Bear with me. Because our number 8 pick, it might seem a little bit crazy. It's a very volatile investment, but it looks like it's coming to fruition, and our patience is finally being rewarded. QuantumScape is getting closer and closer to having solid-state batteries in production model vehicles, and investors are pushing shares higher. The stock popped about 15% last month, and now it's holding pretty well above its short-term moving averages. It's got momentum. It's got performance. Let's see if that holds. Let's see, 2 more left. We're going to go back into the dividend-paying stocks. Remember, I love income. I think it's going to be very, very, very useful, even more useful than normal in times in the near future. And so we're going to go back into the dividend-paying stocks, and we're going to go with Albemarle for number 9. It performed pretty well in March with a 9% gain. And like I said, commodity prices are entering a super cycle, so that should keep investors interested in this lithium producer. There's some short-term momentum building. It's not quite as strong as some of our others, but it's still there. So we're going to see if that trend continues and the momentum holds and builds more into April and make it our number 9 pick for this month. And that brings me to our last slot to fill, and I have the perfect peg to fit this hole. I'm going to put in our favorite cannabis stock. It's coming back into the mix, and we're going to bet on Innovative Industrial Properties as our number 10 pick for April. Shares did pretty well last month, gave us about an 8% gain, and while momentum isn't quite as strong as some of the others, it's there. And honestly, I just love this stock. You know, it's great, it's trading for less than it should be, plus we've got a dividend payout coming soon, and that's just going to add a little bit more juice to the squeeze. So IIPR is going to be the number 10 stock in our list this month. And that's the Wealth Advisory's top 10. I'll give you a little recap here. We're going with SLATE Grocery REIT, Prologis Inc., Unity Group, Bunge Limited, Freeport McMoran, Leidos Holdings, Maxar Technologies, QuantumScape Corporation, Albemarle Corporation, and finally Innovative Industrial Properties. And you'll have to check back in next month to see how we've done. If you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that bell to make sure that you're notified when we post new videos. And give us a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you really liked it, leave us a comment to let us know. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.